Hey guys, we're continuing our conversations with M&R employees that bring you great products and services. And today we're featuring Ulisses. Ulisses, tell us a little bit about your role at M&R.
I'm currently the parts department manager, and I oversee this department that sends all the parts to our current customers. So when they're down, we're the ones sending the parts in. Yep.
You're like the rescue squad, right?
Pretty much.
You rescue them whenever they're...
We try. We do our best. Yes, we do our best.
Very good. How long have you been at M&R?
Okay, so I started with M&R summer of 2021, so nearly 5 years with M&R in total. Yes.
Have you always been in parts, or were you doing something?
No. I started right after college, so my first role with M&R, I was a mechanical assembler in the digital department. So pretty much I started with M&R right before we launched the Polaris. So the first machine that I learned in the equipment, the printing equipment world was the DS4000 that goes on the Polaris. So
very nice. And what brought you to M&R? Tell us about your journey.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Brazil, and I came to the US for college, right? So once I was done with college, 4 years of it, I had some connections here at M&R with some friends, and the opportunity came up, and I started working here in the factory.
Anything surprise you about when you started at M&R?
The size of the company, for sure, yes. So because I wasn't in the office, I was over here in the factory. So just looking at the size and how many employees we had, how much we produce here, that was shocking to me. Because before working with M&R, I had never heard about printing industry. So that was interesting to see how big M&R is.
Did you get lost in the building?
I did, because I remember when I worked here, the digital department was split into two different departments, smart and digital. I was in the smart section, which was in this side of the building, and the digital was in the opposite side. So I was actually like running back and forth and getting like 11, 12,000 steps a day. So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
I bet. Any funny stories that have happened at M&R? Any fun facts you want to share?
Yeah. So since I'm from Brazil, and when I started working with M&R in 2021, I was still under my student visa. Mm-hmm. So M&R did apply for my work visa to stay here, but at the time I didn't get selected, so I had to move back to Brazil. So the fun fact was that M&R continued to help me out, and I became a contractor for M&R and I became a technician pretty much. So I was living in Brazil and doing services all over Latin America. So I've been to a few countries with M&R, and mainly in Mexico doing Polaris's installation. So it was really interesting because I'm from the countryside of Brazil. So for me to get to Mexico was a long journey. So I would be on a 30-hour journey from my house to our customer in Mexico. So that was pretty interesting.
And now you're here enjoying the Chicago winters, right?
Yes, tell me about it. We're over here, it's February in Chicago, so very different from Brazil, but pretty adjusted already. Mm-hmm.
If you could share anything with our customer base about something about M&R that maybe they don't understand or don't know about, what would you share with them?
Well, talking from experience, M&R is a family and became my family, right? So I came over here as an international student, someone from outside of the country. M&R gave me an opportunity, and even moving back to Brazil, I continue to have that opportunity. So what I can tell people is M&R is a family, and it's also really interesting to see how we have generations here. We have grandparents and then parents, sons and daughters working for the same company. Mm-hmm. So I just believe that M&R, so once you start working for M&R, you become part of the blue crew, the blue family, right? Yeah. So
and everyone in the family becomes part of the blue crew.
Yes, everyone in the family, for sure. So
well, awesome. I love hearing your story. Thank you so much for your time, Ulisses.
All right,
again,
thank you so much.